It's like endless. You can go anywhere with a character, and you get to just dig in or like go deep into the possibilities. And also on set, if you don't have the answers yet, if you keep on asking questions and just be open to the situation when you're there on set, I feel that's more valuable than actually making big decisions for the character before you're on set.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Renate Reinsve is an actor. She sat down with me at the Gotham headquarters in Brooklyn to talk about the work.
Can you talk a little bit about how you even started acting? And
Yes.
Can you talk about your theater work? Was that a true love, or were you always having your sights on film work during that early period in your life?
Yeah, no, I think it was, true love. Because I started acting when I was around 9, and it was like a children's theater group. And everyone was having fun and just playing around. I was not playing around, you know. I was a bit too serious. I was like, okay, I was playing a fox in this fairy tale, and I just wanted to be very specific on who that was, where that fox came from, what was the fox's interests, be very specific. And I love doing that. I really love building the character. Maybe I should actually be writing, because being on stage was for me very, very scary. But because of the process before, how specific could I be in how I built a character and a world around the character, that was my biggest love for it. So I just continued doing it. And then I understood, I think I was around 14, and someone gave me a card after a show, and it was for a theater school, and said that you have to apply. And I'm from a very small place, so I didn't think I could do anything, But then I realized I can actually work with that. But it never felt like work for me. It's just I really, really love. So I feel very lucky to be doing that, because I love it every single time. If the production is, it has a lot to do with the people you work with. So I love also the collectiveness of it. And yes, but that's how I started.
But what do you think brought on that desire to get behind the frog or whatever, or whatever you said, the fox, or you know what I mean, understanding that obsessive kind of pursuit of that?
Yeah, so I was from 9 till when I was actually kicked out of my home when I was 16. So in that time, it wasn't a very good time for me. And I guess I was just trying to understand why people, close people would treat each other bad. So I was trying to understand what it was all about, and trying to understand different types of characters, and actually getting to live them on stage. So I subconsciously put a lot of traits from people I knew that wasn't treating me that good into the characters. And they were always very dramatic. I would find some, I don't know, sadness to them, or despair, or my love for acting was about trying to understand people around me and how people related to each other, because I always found it very complicated to understand why people treat each other bad, or why people get close to each other, what happens, why do certain people have different chemistry, and why do you work so well with some people and you really crash with other people. So it's just, I guess, the social aspect and the social structures that I was surrounded by, I was so curious. And then I actually got to build my own character and relate to different characters and play them out. So it was very therapeutic, I guess. But I didn't know that back then.
Right. It's so interesting that you're talking about, like, this is all just like curiosity. Like, you weren't crippled by these things happening. You were interested in the dynamics going on.
Yeah.
And you were able to imbue the characters with
Yeah.
that in a way, almost like other people might get paralyzed with those thoughts. You were actually channeling it back into your work.
Yeah, and that's also why acting was so important to me, because it was a place to like get it all out or understand it or figure something out. So I don't know, if I didn't have that, it would be very different. And I think the same love for it has just kept going for the whole entire time. And whenever I'm not able to go into a role and really dig into what this person is and what's the social structure of this particular character and how does the character relate to that, and like build the character multidimensional, then I get so unhappy. I really hate, like, if it's just a character that's a function to like a plot or something, I really hate it. Yes.
Joachim talks about this 9 days that you worked on Oslo, August 31st, and talks about how he was really impressed with your overall vibe that he really responded to. But then he also said you had this way of sustaining energy over time, because you guys had to do this little scene over many days. I was wondering if you can objectively look at what he was responding to you, like what were you bringing with you into that production, and what made him want to write a role for you?
Well, I think because my character she had one line, and it was, "Let's go to the party." So I was, I guess, just bringing the party and bringing the people to the party. So that was my task. So I guess that's what I was doing. And it's also something about Joachim that he gives the scene the needed kind of culture or the vibe that you need to do the scene. It really felt like just a big group of friends making a movie. I only had the small parts, and I thought like everyone was friends and they just did this movie. But Joachim has a way of making that culture on set. So I guess it's a combination of us two working together, because the next movie I was in after that one, I was shocked because it was completely different. It was not collective at all. People weren't friends. It was very stressful, and I was supposed to just do my thing when the camera was on me, and we were all alone, just like trying to just everyone's ready, lighting is ready, and now you go. But on Joachim's set, it's something completely different. It's just like, okay, we are doing this scene together. How do we solve it? No one is above any other person. So lighting is as important as his actors. So I think I think it was just a very good combination of values. You know, he has the same values as me. So I guess working on that, I just had endless energy of being in it and bringing that energy that I needed to bring. You know, it was just my kind of acting task to do, even though this role was very small. And then I guess also a lot of actors, when they do small parts, maybe they will get ambitious, or they want to show that they can, you know, be a bigger actress or bigger actor. Like they want to make their role a bit bigger than it actually is in the script. But I never had any ambition of becoming anything. So I just went into that. I just don't try to be anything else or do anything outside of that. I try to leave myself out of it, kind of. Yes. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
And then it doesn't...
that might be what he's talking about sustaining energy through because you were
Maybe.
focused on your task, like you're saying,
Yeah.
and you were focused on what you were serving the scene.
Yes.
Not coming in there with this other things putting on top of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that was probably attractive to him, meaning like as a piece of this whole thing. And you were able to do that over and over again to finally succeed with this scene.
So for me the whole is more important than me. So when I come on set, I don't want to be there as me. I want the whole to be good. So I never want to think about, okay, how can this character be more interesting, or of course I do, but the whole is much more important. So if I don't want to bring my ego kind of, you know.
Yeah.
So, and also in The Worst Person in the World, we knew that it wasn't about, because the characters are so they're so complicated and complex, and it's very hard to say, okay, this is Julie, or this is Axel, or this is Eivind. But we knew that the dynamic between the characters would make the big difference. That would be the scene, what happened between the characters. And that also makes it a lot less scary. So you can be very free because it's never about me. It's not about my achievement. It's not about, it's about making something interesting together. And that's the thing that's most important to Joachim. And that's also a big liberty of being on that set.
Yes.
And then you don't have to push. It's never contrived, because it's just like what you're just there.
Yes.
He doesn't need anything else than just us being there.
This matters so much. I'm not sure if people who don't work in this can understand how much this matters. You had a very interesting view because you saw the other side of this right after working with him, and then you got to work with him again after that. So you saw it again, how that matters. Working in this as an actor, I want to know how that actually helps. You hear this whole idea that a director has to be very clear about vision and have a stranglehold on the scene, and that almost sounds like other people can't be involved in the creation almost. They are parts of it, but they can't be involved with the creation. It sounds like in this situation, everyone is contributing.
Yeah.
What does that actually do though? Can we figure that out? How does that actually help you when the camera is rolling? You created something here that is taking the world by storm, How much of a factor is the idea that we're talking about here? How much does that matter to you when you're actually working?
I think it makes all the difference. So Joachim he has a very strong voice, and he knows exactly what he wants, aesthetically and with his production, how to spend his money, every single step, he really knows what he wants. And he's very, very intelligent, and he's a very good filmmaker. And that makes people want to do their best, But he also has, in that structure, he gives people so much freedom. So people bring their life into it, and they get to be very free. The cinematographer, he is very free within his limits of what Joachim wants. So Joachim is a very good leader. He sets the premise, and then we get to play around with what is there. And it's actually easier to play around if you have very clear limits. So I think the balance between control and the freedom is actually, he's just a very good artist, so he knows where that balance is.
That's it.
And he gives everyone time. When we film on film, so it's you should be stressed out because it's expensive, and you can hear that, going. But it's actually, you know that he's gonna roll. Like, and you know that you don't have to push anything because either something comes up or it doesn't, but you're there, you're in the emotion and you're there together with the other actor. And every time something would happen, but we didn't, like we had so much preparation. It was very, very, like the body of Julie, the thoughts of Julie, the emotions of Julie, everything was very well prepared. But then when you're on set, you're just supposed to forget everything and just be in the moment. But you know so well who she is. So it's always that balance, control and preparation, and then just letting go.
Talk to me about your use of a spirit animal.
Oh.
And I heard you talk about Timothée Chalamet's character.
He's my spirit
as
animal.
your spirit animal. Call me by your name.
Yeah.
Now, I find this interesting. Like, tell me first how you use something like that. How is that useful? Like, how is studying that? Like, if somebody, Brando used to go over here to the Central Park Zoo.
Yeah.
To study the apes.
Did he?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I think for
so Timothée Chalamet is my ape.
for Streetcar. But this, so you studied, but tell me how that's working in you. Like, what does that mean?
So very early we talked about Diane Keaton and her, my brain is jet lagged. Annie Hall.
Yes.
So very early we talked about Annie Hall and Diane Keaton, and that she was like clumsy and playful, and she was very like the levity of that character into the world. But I don't know. I had seen Elio in Call Me by Your Name, and I just thought of that role, and I saw it again, and I thought, okay, I want to have kind of the same energy when Julie is younger, because he is just. I feel that it's hard to like talk about someone else's work, but what I can see is that he goes really deep into emotion, and it's just there. He doesn't push anything, and things just like he is in this very open space where things just pass through him. I just love the way he was very present, and I like whenever I was having a hard day, I was just think like, what would Timothée Chalamet do?
Interesting. That's so interesting. And you just described, when you were talking about it, you were describing this performance, your performance, because that's what I was seeing.
Yeah.
It just happening to you, like emotion, like it just coming through you. That's like you did that. So that was just giving you the inspiration that you needed, like kind of like a touchstone.
Exactly. It was just a good start point, for some scenes.
Yes.
And then other scenes, I like to go like very deep into sorrow and loss. I watched also like Antichrist and Charlotte Gainsborough.
Yeah.
Because the way she handles loss and she goes so deep into those emotions. So it's very inspiring to me, the way she does it. So I think, I don't completely believe in individualism. So I feel that everyone is like picking stuff from here and getting inspired, and then we're all like trying to evolve this profession together,
That's a good way to put it. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It's very collective. So I get very happy if I see an actress do something amazing and like they push the limits. I know, okay, we're moving. Like we're all so moving.
Cool. It's almost like it ups your game when somebody else ups theirs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's like, okay, great. I'll have to challenge that.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Yes.
Yeah, but I also just watched an interview with Meryl Streep, like when I was here the last time, a week ago, and she said something really nice. Like acting for her is total immersion into possibility. I really love that. That's the love I have for it too. Like it's like endless. You can go anywhere with a character, and you get to just dig in or like go deep into the possibilities. And also on set, if you don't have the answers yet, if you keep on asking questions and just be open to the situation when you're there on set, I feel that's more valuable than actually making big decisions for the character before you're on set.
That is huge.
Yeah, but I think it's very important. And I felt that the strength of the character of Julie was that I couldn't fully understand her. I had more questions than I had answers. And I felt that it was an important thing to go on set asking questions because and not giving any answers. And I feel it's important for the audience to fill in their own situation or their own emotion.
Yes. Why wasn't that scary though?
Well, yeah, it was very scary. It was very scary. That was, we were playing around with how much we could lose control and how much we could just not knowing what the scene was totally about. Because it's like that in life. You don't know what situation you're in. Like, it's impossible to know what your choices, the consequence of your choices is until after you've taken the choice. So how can we say what is right or wrong? It's just, I guess the film is more of like questions and a conversation than it is about, that it is saying something about life. And I think also that's why people connect to it, because they get to fill in their own life in those gaps. And for Joachim, I know that's important. And we kind of found our own way of doing stuff as we went along, you know, partly playing with how much complex emotion could we put into one situation and how much could we not decide on anything, just be free within the limits, of course. Yeah, but I guess it's complicated to talk about, like how. Yeah.
But you must have both been feeding off each other.
Yeah, I feel we had a really good collaboration. Just, we had so much fun testing stuff, and because we had fun with it, even like the heavy, sad, big, tragic scenes, we still had fun with seeing how far we could go, how little could we do, how much could we do. Like, we did a lot of versions of the scenes that were very different, and then he could put it together in the editing later.
Can we talk about one scene that really struck me only after the second time I saw it, the movie, which is when your character leaves this comic book event and starts walking home, but she doesn't get home, you know, something happens, but there's this change that happens. And the scene goes on, like you're overlooking the city. And I remember when the first time I saw it, it got over. I loved the movie. But then the second time I saw it, I thought, I wonder what, something changes. Something has to change for her to go to that party, to crash that party. And I was wondering, I was curious, because I didn't remember it in my mind, what had happened. Then that scene comes up, and on the second viewing, I can see how important this scene is. But I'm just curious, because it's all silent, it's just you, and there's something going on there.
It's very interesting that you say, because when I got the script, I also just read through it, and I didn't pay too much attention because it was just 3 lines in between 2 scenes in the script. But Joachim told me the first time we were meeting, after me reading the script, he said, that's the most important scene for me. And I was so scared of that scene because I know it was so important to him. So I would go over and over and over, and being so scared of missing any nuance or any emotion or complexity of what stage she was in. So I worked very hard actually on filling that in and thinking about what it should contain. And you know, every scene in the script is so rich with emotion and events, and so for me, it's binding the scenes together. Where she comes from and where she's going through. And then she's coming from, she feels very it's for her, it's just like leaving a party because something is uncomfortable, but she doesn't know what's uncomfortable. And then looking over the city, and that's having this profound connection suddenly to something, to the view, makes her really, really sad because she lacks that in her life. So that makes her, really, really emotional, but she hates being in emotion. So she wants to get out of that emotion, and she's very confused and surprised that she even has that much sadness, and she doesn't want to admit that to herself. So that makes her also do something very destructive, going to a party, sneaking in, like she doesn't care if she gets caught or anything, and then she makes her own fun. She finds a guy and she flirts with him and kind of ruins her own life a little bit from there.
Right.
She's in a good place with her boyfriend, and she has so many talents and so much. She's smart and funny and cool. She could do whatever, but she's like sabotaging herself. So that's kind of the arc of that scene. And we did different versions, and we tried to like see how much of complex emotion we can put into that one walk.
And so that's the very interesting thing, is that it's so rich with complexity and different states. Like if you want, it has to be viewed again to fully like appreciate it. But I'm just curious how you can experiment and have all of these thoughts going on in your mind, but they don't overwhelm you because you know how subtle something has to be. Like, this is what I don't understand, how you can create that, even though you have all of these complex thoughts, not just about the state she's in, but how this is seen as working dramaturgically. Like, how does that not overwhelm you? How are you able to function and create such beauty, subtle beauty?
Well, I'm just very, very interested in dramaturgy. I just read the script 200 times, and I tried to connect, this scene to this scene, and I was very specific on the different stage she's in at all time, and like making the body different from when she's young to when she gets older to when she's kind of accepting herself, and that she has this restlessness. But it's just a little bit, it's because it has to be.
Yes.
It can't be. I can't show it. I just have to be in it. Yes. So that's the difference, I guess. And a lot of directors I've worked with, they want me to show, because they can't see it, so they want me to show what I'm going through. But Joachim never asked. He's so sensitive, and he just really tunes into what the character is going through or the actor is going through. So he doesn't ask you to show him what's going on. And if you do it, he asks you not to. So that's why I think it's possible to just be in every single moment.
This movie means a lot to people, particularly women.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, it's not just that people are loving it. They are seeing themselves in it. They are going through something with it. It's impacting their life. I hope you're able to appreciate that. I hope you're able to celebrate that, what you've done.
Yeah. I am really, because when I first read the script, I had the same experience. And I was so scared that I would do something, I would ruin it so that people who were watching it didn't have that experience. That was so important to me. Wow. So I never worked as hard with anything in my life, because it was, but then, when you're in it, we felt that we made something very important. And I felt that this is very universal. I think it's gonna be important to people, but you never know. So of course we are so happy that people take the movie like it belongs to them.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing. So it's like we're traveling around, just meeting people and talking about these themes, and like it's starting conversations, and people get to see themselves like a new perspective, or their life situation in a new perspective, and that's very, of course, very powerful. But I felt that with filming it and doing this film, it changed me too, and it changed my perspective of things. And having these conversations and asking these questions it is very important.
Renate Reinsve, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham, formerly IFP. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.